So I would love to get you to comment a little bit on what you are still seeing and hearing in the workplaces, and then maybe we can pivot to how do we cure for all this?
Yeah, and you're right. Unfortunately, the pandemic actually exacerbated. And what it really proved out is that you don't have to be in person to be bullied, targeted, or abused. In fact, there's a tactic that I talk about in the book called dropping the seed. And that tactic is basically that there are conversations occurring about you, really behind your back, that you're not privy to, behind closed doors, typically at higher levels, that most of the time are not true. But they're really positioning you in a place that you would never want to be. And you don't know about them, so you have no ability to really address what is being said. So now play that out in a virtual world. So what I find is that is happening more and more often. So instead of kind of the bullying face-to-face or the passive-aggressive behavior in person, what you're seeing is a lot of this happening offline, is what I would say, and the individuals aren't even privy to the conversation.
Wow. Okay. So, again, I love trying to solve for some of this, but I still feel like before we solve it, we need to get a good handle on what we're solving for. Yeah. So tell me about these individuals. When we think about these folks that are exhibiting these unproductive, toxic behaviors, are there any cues or tells that would allow us to spot them either earlier on or even in our current situation?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So unfortunately, based upon the research, up to 25 to 35% of mid to are extremely toxic to the workplace.
Wow.
And so when you think about that, now couple that with 80% of leaders are good to poor. So we have a leadership issue within our workplaces. Because these individuals get away with these type of tactics, it really starts to proliferate within the organization because they see, individuals think, okay, that's what I need to do in order to get ahead. And it starts tainting your culture. And so there really is this pervasiveness now that's occurring within the workplace and having a very detrimental effect. So what do they look like? So I call them imposter leaders in the book. And that's because they're in leadership positions, again, typically mid to senior levels, but they're really not leaders at all. They're the antithesis of a leader. They're very self-motivated. Some do have mental issues, such as sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissism, which are typically prevalent within that 25 to 35%. The good news for individuals is the imposter leaders have a pattern of behavior. And the reason that it's a pattern is because they continue to build on what they've already done. So they have found some success, let's say, in gaslighting or removing a high performer from their role, maybe subsuming them or their department. And so they found some success in that. So now they'll take it to the next level. They'll either actually go upstream, which is try to tackle someone at a more senior level. Most often they do it at the same level, but they'll continue to use the same tactics. So that's where individuals, if they understand and are aware of the tactics and the processes that these imposter leaders use, you're much more able then to navigate the situation successfully.
Beautiful. I think that's a perfect segue. So let's talk about some of those tactics. What are some of those things that we need to be on the lookout for? And then if you've got any antidotes for those or any ways to kind of stop those in its tracks, I would love to hear those.
Yeah, I think there's a couple. So I don't know if I'm sure that you have heard this, but Webster's Dictionary said that gaslighting was the word of the year in 2022.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the word of the year. That's an unfortunate word to pick. But
isn't that awful? Yeah. Isn't that awful that that's the one word? And so the good news is because of that, and I thank them for that, they're bringing a lot of awareness to what gaslighting actually is. And in the workplace, it happens all the time. So gaslighting, and I go into great detail in the book, but a gaslighting situation may look like where you're in a one-on-one with your leader and you're just having, your general conversation. How did your week go? How's the family? Really making you comfortable initially with the conversation. Then what you're going to find is the pace of the conversation will pick up. And all of a sudden, they'll start playing back to you things that you didn't say. So for example, I understand that you're having difficulty with this project. Are you not able to handle it? I'm hearing that you're not able to handle it. Is that true? And you'll play back and say, no, I think there are some challenges with the project, but here's what I'm thinking about and here's how I'm tackling it. And they'll say, so you're saying that you can't handle it then? And that's the huge cue back to anyone that you are being gaslighted. When someone starts playing back to you something that you've never said, and you have clarified it once, maybe twice, in those situations, you need to understand what's happening. They're trying to put words in your mouth, and the outcome is not going to be good because they're doing it for a reason. So the best thing that you can do in that situation is remove yourself. Even if it's a one-on-one with your boss, check your watch, say, I am so sorry. I actually have something else that I've committed to. I need to go. And get yourself out of those one-on-one situations as much as possible.